Looking for a fast-charging, ultra-responsive stylus for your iPad? Meet the 2X Fast Charge Active Stylus Pen, designed for 2018 to 2025 Apple iPads. Take your creativity and productivity to the next level. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Welcome back to Qualcomm Pulse, where we dive into the world of technology and innovation. Today, we're going to talk about a rather interesting development in the world of corporate finance. So, you may have heard that Invesco Limited has made a public dealing disclosure regarding Qualcomm Incorporated. Now, before we get into the details, let's just clarify what this means. The takeover code is like a set of rules that govern how companies behave when they're considering making an offer for another company. And when a company makes a public dealing disclosure, it basically means that they've done something that might affect the price of their shares. Now, Invesco Limited has made a public dealing disclosure because they have interests in Qualcomm Incorporated's shares that are worth 1% or more. This is an important threshold, as it triggers certain requirements under the takeover code. And what these requirements mean is that Invesco Limited needs to disclose some details about their dealings with Qualcomm. One of the key things we need to understand here is that this public dealing disclosure doesn't necessarily mean that Invesco Limited is trying to acquire Qualcomm. It's more like a precautionary measure to ensure compliance with the takeover code. But it does give us some insight into what's going on behind the scenes. Now, let's look at some of the details. According to the public dealing disclosure, Invesco Limited has bought or sold Qualcomm Incorporated shares in recent days. The exact amount is not specified, but we can infer that there might be some interest in buying or selling these shares. And what's interesting here is that this public dealing disclosure could potentially affect the price of Qualcomm shares. But how does this work? Well, when a company makes a public dealing disclosure, it means that they're being transparent about their dealings with another company. This helps to prevent any potential manipulation of the market and ensures that all parties involved are on an equal footing. It's like a check and balance system for corporate finance. Now, I know what you might be thinking. What does this mean for Qualcomm's investors? Well, the key takeaway here is that this public dealing disclosure doesn't necessarily imply any wrongdoing by Invesco Limited. It's just a precautionary measure to ensure compliance with the takeover code. And if everything checks out, then we can breathe a sigh of relief. In conclusion, the story of Invesco Limited and Qualcomm Incorporated's shares is an interesting one that highlights the complexities of corporate finance. By following the rules and making public dealing disclosures, companies like Invesco Limited demonstrate their commitment to transparency and fairness. And for investors, it means that they can stay informed about what's happening in the market and make more informed decisions. That's all for today's episode of Qualcomm Pulse. Thanks for joining us.